Hello, this is Bonnie, and today I'm going to be working on a Fairy Hugs card that can be for Halloween, or it doesn't have to be for Halloween. These are going to be the stamps I'm going to be working on with, and that is Flying Bats. This is Howler, and this is the Slanted Tree, one of my favorites. And we're going to be using the Spooky Moons. So, one of the things, the techniques in this particular video I want to show you is how to use the glitter. Fairy Hugs has a large range of glitter, and I'm going to show you how to use the glitter with the moon. And we're going to go ahead and get started with doing that. So I've got a little bit of a heavier cardstock. I'm using my smaller Misty. Not that it matters, just because I'm going to just stamp the moon first. And, in order to do that, I want the background to be yellow. And I'm going to stamp on top of that. I think I got to make sure I've got the right one. I do. And I'm going to be using Distress Oxide, and I'm going to be using mustard seed, because I think this will grow really good with the color. So I'm just going to do a circle of that on here about the size of the moon. And I think that's going to work. Okay, make sure it stays still. And then all I'm going to do is actually stamp the Spooky Moon. I'm using the largest one, and I'm just going to stamp that right there in the center. But instead of using VersaFine Clair today, I'm going to be using Archival ink, because I wanted this color, and they didn't have the color purple that I wanted. So I want to do this one because I think it'll match with the background better. So let's see if we can get that to work. It might just look dark, but I'm still going to be able to use the color right, I think. Okay, I need a little bit more, but you can see how I have that variation there. I really like that, and I know I am stamping on top of an oxide. And usually I try to wait a little bit longer, but when I do a video, that usually doesn't happen. But I like the variation anyway. Okay, you can see my streaks from how I did my stamping because of this tiny. So let's see if we can get rid of some of those. If not, I'm just going to spray it. Well, actually, this is not water-based. That's not going to matter. It's still not going to totally matter for what I want to do. We're going to leave it like that. I actually like the first pass through best, but this will work. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to cut this into more of a square, and then I am going to put some double-sided score tape on top of that, and I'll be right back and show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so for some time I've had this huge roll, and I know they're quite expensive, but I bought it such a long time ago, and I still have tons of it. It works perfectly for what I want to do with the glitter. So basically I unroll that, and all I'm going to do is put this on face down. Oh, I really do need to cut this first, because otherwise I won't know exactly. Oh, I won't be able to see through it. Hold on a minute, I want to make sure. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see through it. I was forgetting about that. So what I need to do first is cut this out, and I'm going to be using a die that measures well, it's going to fit this no matter what. So you measure whatever it fits your moon, but this, it's about 2 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got that cut out. Like I said, I have to put this face down on there, just like that. And then I'm going to get as close as I can to that. And these scissors work great for this kind of stuff. And it's not that this isn't going to stick a little bit to my die cutting plates, it will. But now I'm going to do is bring that back to the die cutting machine and just cut that out just like that. And I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to show you how much glitter there really is at Fairy Hugs. This is all Fairy Hugs. They're beautiful. I mean, they're just beautifully sparkly. They're wonderful, all different colors that you can imagine. And there are some that are called confetti. They're a little bit chunkier. There's one that's rainbow. And they're translucent. So I'm just saying you should go take a look at the store. They are fabulous. So the one that I'm going to be using today, they do have a pixie dust that's a confetti, but I am going to be using the pixie dust that's just the fine powder. But I just wanted to tell you, I get really excited when I think about all the things you can do with the glitter. So we are going to take our moon that we just did, and we are going to be peeling this off. Remember, I cut that out, and we're going to be peeling off this top because it's a double-sided score tape. And so now we've got, if you can see, all of that wonderful score tape on there. And this is not, I always get the two things confused, but it's translucent. So you can just totally cover this up and for the most part still see through it. And you, what they call burnishing, which is really pushing the glitter onto it. So it is just absolutely gorgeous. I think you can kind of see that, how pretty. So sometimes I try to get the edges a little bit more. Okay, so there's a tool that I use to burnish, and it basically is a kitchen tool. And it's a scraper. So I'm going to keep this on here until I get this scraped off. I don't want to lose that dust or glitter. And you just burnish it. And that means you push down and across. And it really makes a difference, because I'm just burnishing that in. And that is going to be our moon for our card. Let me go ahead and show you that closer. It's really, really pretty. And it's super easy to do. It's no heat, you know, with your heat gun or anything, but you still get that glitter. And it is glitter, and it stays on because you burnished it into that glue or tape. So as you can see, there's very little that comes off. I think even if I brushed it, it probably would, you can see. So really cool way to use your glitter. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the card together so we can use our moon. Okay, so I decided I am going to be using EveningField craft papers from Fairy Hugs. I love, love, love how this will work for so many scenes, and this is perfect. This has a little bit of a navy to it, and it's perfect for this scene. I love it. So this is going to basically be our setup, and I want to make it so that that tree technically doesn't really bother the wolf. And I think that's going to work. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to stamp our wolf. And I will stamp him with a Nocturne for sure. And I'll probably stamp the tree with the morning mist. We'll see. This would be a perfect situation to have a mask, and I do not think, I have to look, I might have a Howler mask. If I have one, I usually keep it in the back of its folder. Let's see. Nope. So we are going to probably use some of the washi tape, because it's not going to be really significant where I want to stamp. So okay, that looks good, but I think I need it a little bit darker. Okay, that's great. So I love this stamp too. It stamps really beautifully. Let's see. Now for our slanted tree. And it's going to go like this. So I know the parts of the wolf that I need to use my washi tape on. Now, yes, it would have been very simple to have a mask, but the washi tape can work as well. Because it's not going to go up very high. I'm not really sure I care if there's, yeah, I really don't want the mushrooms. Well, it's not going to go if I do it like that. I don't really want the mushrooms in between the tail. It just kind of takes away from the tail. So I am going to do a little bit there. All right, let's see about the front paw. I might have to cover that up. Well, if I do it just that way, I'll just miss that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and cover that front paw just in case. Okay, so we're good. I'll set that on. And I'm going to stamp it, like I said, with the morning mist. And then I'm going to see, I'll make sure I got that a little bit straight. I'm really paying close attention to where those mushrooms are going to go and where this one little branch is going to be, and for the tree to look somewhat straight. Okay, even once I get it on there, I can move it back around a little bit. All right, I'm going to use the morning mist, and if I find that the morning mist is too light, I am going to go ahead and use the Nocturne, or I'll just stamp, as usual, the morning mist more than once, which I might have to do anyway because I'm not sure how much ink I have on here. All right. That looks like it's going to be good. Hold that on for a while. Another thing, which I don't think that I'm going to do, but to have stars in the background would be absolutely perfect too. I might pull out the stencil just because I'm considering that. I think it would be really cool. That's what it should be like. Let me put some other washi tape on there. I think that's going to look great. I don't think I want it to look a little bit spooky, so I think that looks really good actually. So then we're just going to go ahead and take off the washi tape, and you can see how he actually is sitting on there. The washi tape does come in handy, and also using a lighter ink. It also doesn't make it blend in as well, so you can actually see the image. So I'm really liking it. It even looks like his paw is hanging onto that tiny one, which wasn't my intention. So I was kind of lucky there. So the next thing I want to do is position my moon. And I can use my moon any way I want in direction, which is nice because it's separate. But I also want to, let's see what I did with my, I know I put them somewhere. There they are. I need my bats. So if I put any type of, I could put a sentiment here, or I could put, like I said, the stars. So if I'm going to put these here, I really do want them to fit on. So I'm going to move the moon up and over, and I'm going to put the bats right there. And that will work. And for the bats, I am going to use the Nocturne. And that's not Nocturne. Okay. I haven't used that one for a little while. So everything is looking really, 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 really great. It's the way I want it. And this is where the moon is going to go right next to those bats. So I think I'm going to add some stars. So I need to get out the stencil. We have a stencil up Fairy Hugs has a stencil called, we also have stars I could stamp. But I think I'm going to get out the stencil. It's called Galaxy. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I have this all set up. And I was going to show you the way that this Galaxy, it's really cool. It has a lot of different variations, and it is actually going to work well because it will actually go around the moon somewhat. So I am going to be setting that on there just like that, removing that, and I am going to use my washi tape to keep this down so it doesn't move. I'm pretty good at holding it, but this paper is a little bit slippery, and when I use this sometimes it helps for me so it doesn't move as much. So I am going to be using, actually this is Ranger Texture Paste, and the reason I'm using the texture paste instead of ink is I find that this shows up for me better than any ink that I use. So again, if this even goes underneath over here, it's not going to matter because the moon is going on top. So I also want to make sure I don't get the wolf, but I get a lot of the stars there, because there's a lot of stars. Now, there is, I probably should have been using that. I wasn't thinking about it. There is a new Tim Holtz paste out that's glow in the dark, and that would be so fun to have a glow in the dark card. And I didn't open it yet, so but just to let you know, not only that, but there is a glow in the dark embossing powders, and I think kids would absolutely love a card like this that glows in the dark. So all right, so I've got to consider what I'm doing in terms of the stars. I know where I want this to go around the moon. And we'll take a peek. It's a little bit harder to be fussy about these stars here and just get, you know, because they're close. So we're just going to go with the organic look. That's going to work. And I don't know that I want any on the side, but you know what? There's a few over here, so I'll go ahead and get them. Because I really do have the bats on this side. So we'll just give a few here. Okay. Oops, got a little bit of paste. All right, so one of the things I need to do right away is clean off my stencil because it will ruin it if I don't get that cleaned off. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like and then get my stencil cleaned off. All right. So you can see what I mean. The stars are just awesome. So they look so cool. And then, like I said, I'm going to go ahead once that dries and put my moon on. So I'm also going to ground this down here by using a piece of torn paper. So I'll be back after I get this cleaned. Okay, so I put my video or my camera closer to what I am doing. I wanted to show you, I'm just going to highlight, to give a little bit of a highlight to the slanted tree so it's glowing. You can just, you know, pick some spots so it looks like it's glowing on top of it. Not a big deal. You could even do it to him, but I don't think I'm going to. I did want to make his face, you know, stand out a little bit more. So I am adding just a little bit of white pencil. And I think that helps define him a little bit better because he was stamped in that darker area. So I think you can see that better. And then I'm gonna, this down here really showed up pretty good, so there wasn't really much of a reason to add too much white. But I'll just go ahead and add a little bit. And then I can darken this just a little bit because it's like inside, just to give it a little bit more of a shading to it. And I'm going to use a darker gray, because this is gray, because that'll make it look just a little bit darker and a little bit more solid. And I think that works. I mean, you could even go a little bit darker around the edges just to give it even more of a, actually at the back. So it looks like there's a little bit of depth to that. And if you want to add color, you can, but it's a night scene and there's not as much color in the night. So, but you always can add a little bit of color to that tree by adding, you know, a little bit of brown if you wanted to, but you could really just leave it as is. So I wanted to go ahead and show you this glitter. I have my light on over here, and that actually helps you see that it's how it does kind of glow. It's really kind of pretty. And I did put this up with double-sided tape. That's what's underneath it, so that it does have a little bit of a dimension to it, but you can glue that straight on if you want to. So all I'm going to do is add this to a card base, and we will be done. So I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope you can give this video a thumbs up, and please share. I would appreciate that. All of the products that I'm going to be using, or I did use rather, will be in the description below. Thanks so much.